Hey there, this is Robert Johnson. I go by Will, and this is my argumentative speech about President Trump's tweeting. So today I'm here to tell you that I'm for our president's tweeting. Our president is a Twitter machine. Sometimes Mr. Trump says stuff that is absolutely stupid. I will give you that. But I think that his tweets are good for America. And yes, he has said some crazy things, like I mentioned before. But as Jake Novak of CNBC has said, I think that people are focusing way too much on President Trump's image and not enough on the historic and long overdue real access that we have to our president. We've become so accustomed to a president who's been so shielded and has, barely given out any information to us, whose every word is written down for them. And I think we've just gotten used to that, and we're not used to a guy who is going to give us information, who's going to let us know things, such as President Trump has done for us. And I believe that this is good for democratic openness, good for us as Americans, even if it is sometimes bad for President Trump himself. Critics of Trump's tweeting from the right and the left have one thing in common. They don't seem to want the president to be judged for who he is. The Trump haters don't want him connecting with the still significant number of people who obviously identify with him and his visceral thoughts. And supporters are eager to protect a public Trump persona. Both of these factions have a good case in their arguments, but neither is good enough. So let's refute the Trump supporters' argument first. What they're missing is that Trump's genuine and definitely not sterilized image and behavior played a big role in his election, and much of that was played out on Twitter. And so by comparison, if we look back and check out the election year of 2016, Hillary actually tweeted a lot too. But her tweets were obviously managed and were likely written by staffers, and the Twitterverse was not fooled. And I think that kind of insincere messaging and packaging cost Clinton on Election Day. As President Trump's tweets often connect on a powerful level, after the London attacks, many Americans indeed wondered how our government was working to prevent something like that happening here. Others were astounded that the British authorities knew about the sketchy backgrounds of at least two of the attackers and apparently didn't do nearly enough to stop them. And President Trump's tweets echoed those thoughts effectively, even if they didn't fit the political class definition of presidential behavior. And so by contrast, Mitt Romney was something out of a central casting for a dignified-looking presidential candidate, and a lot of good that did for him. And perhaps the best example of a series of tweets that hurt President Trump was when he accused of President Obama of wiretapping him at Trump Tower. He made that up, I believe. There was no evidence there. And I think it's just something that he shouldn't have done. And so for Trump haters who say his tweets are embarrassing the country, and fly in the face of society our founding fathers would have wanted, they might want to brush up on their American history. Founding father Alexander Hamilton, who was a very extremely prolific writer, would probably be a fierce Twitter and Facebook user today. Even President Thomas Jefferson engineered and helped write his share of nasty content, and it would have lit up social media sites if they would have been around in the 1790s and 1800s. This country and even the presidency have survived worse than Donald Trump's sometimes ill-advised tweets. And we'll get through this as well. The real story is that the American people have waited far too long to get a true picture and real access to the men and women who are in political power. By a crazy stroke of luck, our current president has decided he wants to provide it to us. And so my thoughts on it to conclude here is that yes, he makes some mistakes sometimes when he tweets. Does he give up any information that the world doesn't need to know? I don't think so. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen where he's giving away our secrets and ways to attack our country. I don't think he's doing that, but I think he is calling people out, and I think he is brash, and I think we're not used to that from our president. And of course, we're all going to have our differences. We're all going to have our different thoughts. But here's my belief. I truly believe that it is great that our president currently is willing to tweet out and talk about things in a manner of which that we've never seen before. Personally, I like to be able to think that I know what's going on in my country. I know there's things going on behind closed doors, but this is the most access that I think we've ever had. And so, do I hope he continues to tweet? Yes, I do. Do I hope that he tones it down a little bit with some of the stuff he says? Yes, I do. Thank you so much.